Hey guys, today in Art Club with Miss Burford we're going to be creating Silver Birch Tree Resist watercolours. You will need an A4 sheet of watercolour paper, a pot of water, a paintbrush, a black wax crayon and some watercolours in a variety of shades of blue and purple. We're going to start off by simply using our wax crayon and drawing about a third of the way up our page, and we're going to create a trunk for our tree and then add some branches on the way out. And if you look at my branches, when I add those they go all the way to the edge of the paper, well, the majority of them, and then I've got some little spikes that come off each one as well to add some interest and make them all different. And you want to put them all at different heights, so add some branches on the left hand side of the tree trunk, and then you want to add some on the right hand side as well and try and do them at a different angle to your other ones. Like I say, try and get some of these branches right to the edge of the paper, and then you might have some spiky bits, but you want to keep a nice thick trunk which goes all the way from the bottom of your page to the very top of your page. Then go over your wax crayon lines to make them stand out, make them bolder and thicker. Just don't make them too messy so you've got a nice smooth line. How's everyone doing anyway? I'm currently off work with COVID. I'm over the worst of it, but I'm not quite through it yet. I'm still testing positive, and I would say it's like a cold and tonsillitis had a baby together. I know some people have had it worse, and I know some people have been so lucky to have asymptomatic versions of it. But this is the first time I've had it, and I think I've done quite well considering I work with the public and children. I avoided it for over 2 years, so I think that's pretty good going. Anyway, we're going to keep going with our black wax crayon, that's really hard to say, and add some little bits of texture to our tree. So if you have a little look, I'm adding these lines, some straighter and some more curved, some longer and some shorter. Just try not to do too many of the same in a row, but do them on either side of the trunk, not all the way across, and then the same on the branches as well. Now we can start getting our picture ready to add some colour. So each section behind the tree trunk, so in between the branches, you can add some water, and all of this, apart from the tree itself and the branches, is going to have some lovely watercolour to make our tree pop. The bigger the brush you have to fill these sections with water, the quicker it is and the easier it is. However, I don't know where all my brushes are gone. This is just an acrylic brush which I really shouldn't be using, not for watercolours. But it'll do, it just will not blend out as well, as you'll see in just a moment. So I start by adding some light blue, so start with your lightest colour in each of the sections, and it should bleed out a little bit with that wet paper. Don't forget to add a bit of water to your paint before you add it to your paper though, just to make it bleed out a little bit more. And then add some darker shades of blue and purple to the other parts of your sections, and then let the water bleed these together, and it will create a nice transition. You will notice later on that I do a section at a time with the water rather than doing one side of the tree, because my water just ended up drying so quickly. It's been really hot here in the UK. We're expected to have, I think, like up to 43 degrees in some parts of the country next week, which is absolutely crazy when we aren't really prepared and we don't have aircon in most places unless you want to go shopping. But a fan is just not going to do in that heat, I don't think. And here I am showing you a very wintry scene picture. Maybe that's just what I'm really hoping for right now, is some snow. I definitely much prefer autumnal days and the winter where you get nice sunshine, but you get a nice cold, crispy feel in the air, which is much more me rather than 30-degree heat. Definitely not me. Anyway, with our picture, I've obviously chosen to do blues and purples for the background, because I thought it would be like a nice wintry feel to it, with that stark contrast between the brighter background and the white birch tree. However, if you wanted to, you could add oranges, reds and yellows for your background to give it a warmer feeling, which would probably be more suitable for this summer feeling that we're getting right now. It's completely up to you, but I would stick with one or the other. Or you could allow the children to choose, but just talk about harmonious colours. Obviously, you could add green into the mix with this, but it doesn't really work, I don't think, personally. But again, personal preference. If you can see on the screen, my water was slightly blue each time I filled in each section with the water, and that's because I've obviously used a lot of colours and washed off my brush in the water. I should have changed my water really, however it isn't too dark a colour, and also I started from my light paint and worked onto my dark paint in each section, so that's okay. As long as it didn't get too dark, you can do this too. If you do decide to use these colours, then you could also make it look like it's snowing by sprinkling some salt of various sizes onto the wet paint and leaving it to dry. However, I've done that on one of my other videos recently, so I thought I'd leave it to be something nice and simple, and it's quite a good way to just introduce the children to using watercolour with this wet technique, and allowing the black wax crayon to resist any of the watercolour that might seep across the page. And then just leave these to dry. These work really well as a wintertime project, or if you're just craving coldness like I am right now. And it's a great introduction to watercolours, wax resist, harmonious colours, and even a little bit of texture. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more art lessons like this every week and other art related content every now and then. See you next week for more Art with Miss Burford.